Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Emmerdale abuser Tom King should not die. Here's why his death would send a bad message. Emmerdale fans believe Tom King shouldn't be killed off due to the crucial message his death could send. The son of Carl King, Tom resurfaced in Emmerdale last year, reuniting with his ex-girlfriend Belle Dingle, portrayed by Eden Taylor-Draper, after a decade away in Saudi Arabia with his mother and sister. But in recent months, the character has earned himself the title of the most hated antagonist in the Yorkshire-based program, as his attempts to exert control over Belle's life and circle culminated into him mowing over her dog and best friend, Piper. The storyline has since evolved as it was revealed that Piper wasn't actually dead, despite Tom trying to make Belle believe it was the case. Instead, the sinister vet handed the pooch over to another family, knowing his estranged bride would never look for her. However, with actor James Chase set to leave the ITV soap after filming his final scenes later this year, soap fans are waiting with anticipation for his downfall to take place, as they warned bosses that killing him off would be a big mistake. Back in 2020, rival soap Coronation Street tackled the same issue through Shelley King's Yasmin Nazir, who embarked on a relationship with Jeff Metcalfe, played by Ian Bartholomew. Much like Belle and Tom, the couple's romance started off strong, with the speed doll restaurateur falling for Jeff's sense of humor and happy-go-lucky front. Despite her granddaughter Alia Nazir's annoyance, Yasmin and Jeff eloped in Las Vegas, but Jeff's red flags and abusive behavior became impossible to ignore when he notably forced Yasmin to stick to a strict cleaning regimen, claiming to be allergic to dust, and isolated her from her pals, more particularly former Corrie resident Kathy Matthews. In another devastating twist, Jeff managed to gaslight Yasmin into thinking she was an alcoholic, humiliating her and berating her constantly about her relationships and her appearance. To top it all off, he gave Yasmin an STI he had contracted after an extramarital romp with several escorts. An overwhelmed and tormented Yasmin was eventually pushed over the edge by the abuse, and after a mortifying evening with Tim and Sally Metcalfe at the Rovers, she stabbed Jeff in the neck with a broken bottle, admitting she was terrified he would kill her as he had been yelling at her with a knife in his hand. Thrown in prison ahead of her trial for attempted murder in the aftermath of the incident, Yasmin was eventually able to walk free when Jeff's abusive behavior came to light in explosive courtroom scenes. The hospital DJ met a grisly end when he fell off a roof to his death in December 2020. A bad memory for many soap watchers. I hope prison as I hated it when Jeff got killed off in Corrie, as it didn't really feel like justice had been served, a Corrie fan wrote, before referring to Tom King's own comeuppance. Plus, if they did kill him, it would just show that Emmerdale cares more about drama than focusing on abuse and the effects on the victim, even after the abuser gets locked up. Viewers of the long-running show have recently spotted a clue that death was looming in Belle's coercive control storyline, and some fans are hoping Tom meets a horrific death. One notably penned, "I normally want evil soap characters to be brought to justice and go to prison, but I'll make an exception for Tom King. I hope he dies a most painful death." Meanwhile, on Reddit, some have spoken out in favor of domestic abuse victims and survivors, pleading with soap bosses to work out a more elaborate storyline for Belle's physically and mentally abusive husband. "I hope it goes to trial and he gets a long prison sentence, but as it's Emmerdale he will be killed off no doubt, and there will a whodunit storyline." One fan cynically commented while responding to another viewer who asked how cumbersome Tom could be booted out of Emmerdale. Another soon got involved in the conversation, suggesting that Tom being thrown behind bars may be beneficial for domestic abuse survivors and victims. "I hope for this too," they penned. "Tom being brought to justice may encourage real-life DV victims to report their abuser, whereas him dying just tells them that the only way to escape an abuser is if the abuser dies." A third then jumped in by writing, "I hope he goes to prison. I'm sick of villains in soapland being killed off before they face actual punishment." One then agreed, while underlining the importance of representation on screen. "Literally, soaps need to encourage victims to seek help/report abuse. I have a feeling this may happen due to the producers working so hard with charities to be accurate." Emmerdale bosses have worked with Refuge, the UK's largest domestic abuse organisation for women, to ensure the accuracy of Belle's domestic violence storyline. During a chat with The Mirror, Emma Pickering, Refuge's head of technology facilitated abuse and economic empowerment / National Domestic Abuse Helpline, reminded us that domestic abuse is sadly all too common, with 1 in 4 women experiencing some form of abuse in their lifetime. She added, "It is important shows like Emmerdale explore these types of storylines and work with experts such as Refuge when developing these on-screen portrayals, so viewers can be informed about domestic abuse and how it presents and learn to recognize signs of abuse in the real world." When questioned over how often victims of domestic abuse receive justice, Emma continued, "The reality is survivors may face many barriers in reporting to police, such as fears of not being believed, mistrust in the police, or fears of repercussions from their abuser. On average, only 1 in 5 survivors report to the police, and of those that do, sadly, convictions are rare, custodial sentences even rarer. This desperately needs to change." We know some viewers have found the Belle and Tom storyline hard to watch at times, especially the scenes involving Piper, but it is so important when we are talking about domestic abuse and covering it, even in a fictional sense, that it is true to life. Will this mean that Belle won't get the justice she deserves? Plenty of theories have swirled online as fans try to work out how Tom King's downfall will be triggered. While explosive scenes are ahead and actor James Chase is due to bow out of the long-running show. Speaking to The Mirror, the soap star said, "My parents are really proud of me for landing the role, but like me they think he is a complete asterisk. When they watch me they can't believe some of the awful things that come out of his mouth. Nobody in their right mind would say what Tom says to Belle. Even though I knew it was going to be domestic violence storyline, I have been shocked at the levels he will go to. Will his exit be just as staggering?"